Hi everyone, welcome to Yogafit Thursday. I'm going to start on our mats sitting down today. I'm going to do today a little differently than some of the other sessions, or probably all of the other sessions. I started doing a little bit, I got certified in level 2, and so I'm learning some new things. And I've been weaving a couple of things in the last couple of yoga sessions. I'm going to do some of those things today, but today I'm going to focus on a little bit of restorative yoga. I had a long week. You all know that I just started my new job this week, and yesterday was my Friday, and it was a long day. It was they moved me up to what they call nursery 2. They have nursery 1 and then nursery 2. Nursery 1 is supposed to be lighter, nursery 2 a little heavier, and yesterday was a little heavier. I learned how to do Amazon lockers yesterday, and it was just I was out there a couple more hours than I had been the days before. So, and so this weekend is my weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I have a bunch of stuff to do. So I'm going to make this a shorter session and more restorative, so more stretchy. I'll still go through the sun salutations, so you still will get some of the planky stuff in there and on your hands. A lot of it though is going to be, I'm winging it. So just letting you know, that's all I'm doing is I'm winging it today, and hopefully I can move from one place to the other without having to think too much. So just bear with me. It'll be fun, I hope, and it'll be more stretchy. And I'm doing it in my hot gym. I decided to do like a Bikram yoga thing where it's hot in here. I didn't turn on the AC, and so I'm going to be a little toasty. I might be sweating up a storm. But let's see how it goes. I'm going to turn on the music. I have to turn around this way to get it on. There we go. So let's get on our mats, crossing our legs, settling in. So finding those sit bones, sitting up nice and tall, taking some nice deep breaths, focusing on our breath. Let's do that first. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, letting all the air out, filling up those lungs if you can, from bottom to top. Let's take a few more of those nice deep breaths. You just go ahead and breathe on your own. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. When you get to the end of the count of 4, I'd like you to hold your breath, and I'm going to cue that. You want to hold for a count of at least 4. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 4. So I will count the first one out, and then I'm going to let you breathe on your own. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, and in. Let's do one more of those. normally. The next one we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for the 4 and then out for the 4 and hold your out breath on the 4 before you breathe in another breath. Okay, so let's start in, out, hold, in, out, hold. 2 more of those. In, out, hold, in, out, hold. We're going to try it now for a count of 6. So we're going to breathe in, hold the breath after the breathe in for a count of 6, and then out for a count of 6, okay? And then we'll switch and we'll do it the other way, where we breathe in, then out, and then hold. But for this first one, we're going to breathe in for a count of 6, then hold it, and then let the breath clear out. Ready? In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. Okay, let's switch. We're going to breathe in for 6, then out for 6, and hold after our breath is all the way out of our lungs. In. Out. Hold. In. Out. Hold. One more time. In. Out. Hold. There you go. Did it make you feel a little different holding your breath after your lungs were empty? Did it? Hopefully it didn't make you feel anxious. We're going to go ahead and start out with just some inhaling up and bringing those hands down to the heart center. Big inhale up, and then exhale through the nose. So inhaling through the nose and out through the nose right now. Really reaching those arms out. One more. Now we're going to inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. So we're twisting at our core center. We're going to do one more on each side, or one more on this side. We already did the other side. Now hold here, bring those arms down, and then up. And exhale, arms down, and then up. Try to reach all looking, your body so that our bodies are reaching towards the side, but our hands are behind us and in front of us. Inhaling all the way up, exhaling all the way down. One more on each side. And bringing those hands down to the heart center. Then we're going to roll onto our hands and knees into neutral spine, so our wrists are directly below our shoulders, our knees are below our hips, our head is in line with the tailbone. Let's exhale as we push the middle of our back up into cat position or cat pose. Drawing our heart center down towards the hips, our neck is relaxed, really reaching the middle of our spine up to the sky. And we're going to inhale, dropping our belly towards the mat, lifting our tailbone up, shoulders are away from the ears. Heart center is pressing, it's lifted, but it's in here is pressing down towards our mats. Then we're going to exhale and inhale. One breath per movement. Contraction and expansion. Make that core center work. Moving you from one position to the next. Do one more of each. Now we're going to be in child's pose. Sinking down onto your heels if you can. If you can't reach your heels with your bottom, you can use a pillow or a yoga block or something like this. Just place it underneath your bottom so you can rest your bottom on top of your heels. Your forehead can rest on the mat, and if not, then you can place your hands in fists underneath your forehead. Just finding a nice relaxing place in child's pose. Whatever works for you. You can also place your hands down behind you. Your knees can be close or wide. Child's pose is one of the resting positions. So anytime in yoga, if you need a rest, you can rest in child's pose. You can rest in final rest, the one that we do at the end. You can rest in forward fold. Different places to rest in. Alright, let's come on up onto our knees and our hands. We're going to do our spinal balance. When we lift our left leg up, pressing that heel out towards the back edge of the mat, toes are facing down and reaching that right arm out, fingertips through the fingertips. Our head is in line with the spine. Try to see if you're, think if you're twisting it all. Try to align your body and then bringing those limbs back to center, reaching out as you breathe in and exhale as you come back. Limiting the rocking from back and forth, using that core center to maintain that beautiful line from the head all the way down to the heel, fingertips all the way down to the heel also. Try to reach out so that your bicep is right by your ear. Let's do one more on each side. And then meet back down in child's pose again. On the next inhale, we're going to inhale up and we're going to do a little work today. So just coming down into crocodile and then pressing back, so little tiny push-ups. We're not going to do a lot of these. I just want to warm up the upper body a little bit so that when we go to sun salutations, that our body isn't going, what did you do? rocking back and forth between child's pose and crocodile. Crocodile is that hover right above the floor. You don't have to go down that low though. You can only go, if you want, we can only go down just a couple inches. Or you can sink down as low if you're feeling stronger, as low as you'd like. Let's do one more of these. And I'm gonna curl our toes up underneath us and come up into downward facing dog. Oh, hello, downward facing dog. My calves are a little tight. So your fingers are spread nice and wide. All of our knuckles are pressing into the mat. Lifting the tailbone up, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and our ears are dropped in between our biceps. We're pressing back through the balls of the feet and the heels. Your core center is drawn in. Your heart center is trying to pull down towards your hips for a nice, strong, downward facing dog. Let's bicycle those legs a little bit. Stretching up the calves. Come up onto those toes. Stretch out those toes a little bit too. Pushing that heel down towards the back edge of the mat. And then walking those feet up to the front of the mat in forward fold. So in forward fold, this is one of those other resting positions. It doesn't look like it because you feel like you're in a squat, but your lower ribs are resting or trying to rest on your upper thighs. Your head and your neck is relaxed. You can have your hands down here on the floor. You can have them right here, crossed, and just resting. And taking your peace fingers, your pointer and the middle finger, wrapping them around your toe. You wrap them around and hold your toe and press your big toe down into those two fingers as you pull up with those two fingers and try to straighten your legs. With a big whole, it's hard to say, big whole toe pose. Stretching out the hamstrings. Now this is an easier version of gorilla. In gorilla, you take your palm, both your hands, you place it so that your palm is facing the sole of your foot, and you're pulling up with your palms, and your foot is pressing in, and you're trying to straighten out those legs to get that stretch in the lower back and the hamstrings. Feel it in the back of your calves. And as you pull up with the hands and you press down with the feet, you should feel this in your biceps, in your shoulders. Really nice stretch for gorilla. Take another couple of deep breaths in here as you try to see if you can let that body relax a little bit so you can stretch a little bit more. And then taking those hands when you're ready, bringing them out back onto the mat, sinking back that tailbone down into forward fold. We're going to inhale those arms up, reaching them up to the sky, and bringing those hands down to the heart center, finding your breath and balance, and then finding mountain pose. So in mountain pose, I'm just going to turn towards the side. All four corners of our feet are pressed into the mat. Try to squeeze that mat in between the feet to create some dynamic tension. I always used to say create some tension coming up through the arches of your feet, but if you try to actually push your feet together, think of doing that with your legs, you will really create some really good tension coming up those legs. So start at the bottom of your feet, coming up through the shins and calves, working that tension through the quads and the hamstrings. lifting the ribs away from the hips, really stretching out, creating some space in between here. Your fingertips are really pressing down towards your mat. Shoulder blades are down in the back. So let's lift them up first, roll them back, and put those shoulder blades in their pockets. Take that top of the head, really stretch it out, making a really long spine. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting it out. You can have a little micro bend in that knee so that you're not hyperextending your knees. Inhaling in, letting it out, making a really strong mountain. Remember, in our mountain lives life and breath and lava. Let's inhale those arms up. Exhaling the hands down to the heart center. Inhaling up. And then back down to the heart center. Now we're going to practice our swan dives down. So we're going to inhale the arms up, hinging at the hips, drawing through the crown of the head. We're going to hinge, bend the knees, come down and place those hands down in a forward fold. Let's inhale those arms back up again. And then forward fold. Let's do a few of these. I'm going to move back to the top of my mat because I'm going to turn these into sun salutations here. So keep on going. Okay, this is the last one. We're going to come down into forward fold. Taking our right knee back into a kneeling lunge. Inhaling those arms up into crescent. And exhaling the hands down to the mat, placing our left foot back, then finding child's pose. On the next inhale, we're going to inhale forward into a kneeling plank. Exhaling down into crocodile, dropping the hips and the thighs onto the mat, and coming up into cobra. In cobra, our elbows are right at our sides, lifting our heart center up. Our shoulders are away from the ear, so we're pulling our turtle, like a turtle head, out of the shell. And then we're going to press back into child's pose. On the next inhale, we're going to inhale that right foot forward into that lunge. Inhaling those arms up into crescent. In crescent lunge, we're just leaning back. It's like warrior one, but kneeling. Placing our hands down beside that foot. Bringing that back foot up in a forward fold. Let's inhale the arms up. And then exhale down in a chair. Let's do the other side. Inhaling up, exhaling in a forward fold. Inhaling that left leg goes back into the kneeling lunge. Reaching up and stretching. So if you think about on this one, when you're reaching back and stretching, what we're doing is we're stretching the hip flexor here. And then bringing those hands down beside that forward foot, placing that right foot back, finding child's pose to reset. Inhaling forward into the kneeling plank. Exhaling down into crocodile, dropping the hips, coming up through cobra, and then pressing back into child's pose. Let's take that left leg, we're going to come on up into that kneeling lunge. Inhaling forward or up into crescent lunge. Bringing the hands back down. The feet up into forward fold, then inhaling the arms sweeping up, and then exhaling down in a chair. I'm going to do the more advanced moves. You can stay at the kneeling lunge and the kneeling plank, taking that right foot back, but I'm going to do the standing lunge, coming up into crescent standing. Bringing those hands down beside the foot. Taking that foot back now into downward facing dog. You can be in child's pose right here if you'd like. Inhaling forward. This is about the only kind of work I think I'm going to do in this session today. So coming down into crocodile. Inhaling up through cobra or up dog now. Up dog, and your hips and your thighs are lifted off of the mat, or you can come up onto the tops of your feet in up dog. Taking those toes, placing them underneath into downward facing dog or child's pose. Then taking that right foot, placing that right foot into the lunge position. Inhaling up into that crescent lunge. Taking those hands, placing them beside the forward foot. Bringing that back foot up into forward fold, then inhaling up. And then exhaling down in a chair. Let's do the left side. Sweeping those arms up and swan diving down in a forward fold. Inhaling, that left leg goes back into that lunge. In a crescent. Taking those hands down beside the feet. Pressing them back into downward facing dog. Inhaling forward into that plank. Exhaling down in a crocodile. Dropping those hips, coming up through cobra or up dog. Rolling those toes underneath into downward facing dog. And taking that left foot, bringing it up into that lunge. You can use your hand to get it up there if you need to, like I do. Reaching up in a crescent. Bringing those hands down to the mat. Bringing that other foot up into forward fold. And then inhaling the arms up. And exhaling down in the chair. All right, let's do it one more time. I'm going to see how well you guys can flow. I'm not going to even say the words. Let's just go ahead and do it. Left side. Are you following along? This is really weird for me not to talk. I thought it would be kind of fun to try. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling down in a chair. And then finding mountain pose. You have some water, grab a sip. We're just going to get down on the mat and work on some deep stretches. Anytime you need a sip of water, please grab one. Let's inhale the arms up. We're going to exhale those arms around to open up the chest expansion. Ooh, this is a good one, especially if you're sitting during the day at a computer, behind a wheel, to open up that chest. Most of us during the day are like this with the phones or whatever, so really open up that chest. Press like you're pressing a beach ball behind you. And I'm really getting warm and sweaty in here, just letting you guys know. If I start dripping, whew. You can press those palms together, if you like, in the back to really open up the chest some more. And taking those hips and hinging at the hips, bending the knees, coming in a forward fold, lifting those arms up, either in with them held together or reaching like they're trying to hold them together. Let the head and neck relaxed in forward fold. Then taking those hands down, placing them on the mat, taking your right foot back and your left foot back, and finding child's pose. Rocking from side to side in child's pose a little bit. Not rocking fast, but go to one side and then the other. And then take those hands, so if you're leaning to the right hand side, walk your arms out to the left side, placing your right arm over the left hand, or right hand over the left hand, and find that stretch through the shoulder, through the rib cage. The more you walk those arms out to the side, the more we'll get some stretch. Drop your head in between your biceps. Find a nice couple of breaths here. And walking those arms back to center. Resting here for a second. And then walking them over to the other side, dropping your hip to the opposite side, placing your left hand over the right hand, finding that stretch in the rib cage. Adjust your body so you feel it differently in different spots. Find where you're the most tight and try to stretch through that. Again, keeping your head in between the biceps, your ears. And then coming back into child's pose, walking those hands back, relaxing down. Rolling up onto your hands and knees. We're going to come onto our bottoms. Oops, I am dripping. I am hot. Coming up into seated position. Up nice and tall. Whew, just breathing. Let's inhale those arms up. And then exhale, twisting. Just like we did when we sat at the beginning. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling and twisting. Our torsos to the side. Trying to keep our head like somebody's pulling us with a little tiny string up through the top of the head to keep our spine in alignment. So we're just twisting at the core. One more on each side. And bring those hands down to the heart center. Taking our left foot, we're going to draw that left foot up. I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see. I'm going to turn my mat so that you can see a little bit better maybe. Oops. There we go. Okay. So taking that left leg up, drawing it in so that your foot is relaxing on the inside of your thigh. You can adjust your leg wherever it feels comfortable. Sometimes you may have a little knee issue, so you want to find a place where your leg can relax. We don't want you to feel tension in the knee joint. So for me, I have to have mine out a little bit further than all the way up into the brain area. So sitting up nice and tall, adjusting your hips so that they're facing the front, short edge of the mat and your foot. We're going to inhale those arms up. And then exhale down. Now you can place your hands on your thigh, on your shin, or you can reach toward your feet. We're hinging at the hips and not rolling our back. So we're keeping that back in a neutral position. Finding that stretch. You might feel the stretch in here, in that hip, in the back of your hamstring. As you breathe out, try to stretch a little tiny bit more. when we're doing our deep stretches in yoga, they say a good 5 to 8 nice deep breaths in each stretch is really good. And that's probably a good 20 to 30 seconds. Because that's how our body remembers stretches, is when we stretch at least 20 to 30 seconds in each stretch. Then walking our hands back. Let's take this left foot, we're going to drop it over to the right side. I'm going to take that right leg and fold it under so that we're stacking, trying to stack our knees. If your knees can't stack one on top of the other, it's okay. So relaxing, finding a position where you can kind of sort of relax, since this might not be real comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall. I have to adjust sometimes to really figure out where the legs are going to be able to work. Inhale up, and then exhale forward. Now I'm going to place my hands on the mat and just lean forward, hinging at the hips. There we go. I'll feel this one in the hips, especially down in the corners of my hips. If it bothers your knees in any way, one of the ways you can do this instead is to just cross and then uncross and then lean over. You don't have to cross those legs over if you don't want to. And then coming back up to the top with those, if you'd like to keep your legs crossed like this, you can, or you can straighten that underneath leg, place this foot on the inside, and what we're going to do is we're going to twist. So you can place your hand on the outside of the thigh, your back hand is behind us, and we're going to lift up through the crown of the head. As we inhale, we make a really long spine, and as we exhale, we turn and twist towards the back. Each time you inhale, try to make that spine really long, and as you exhale, go even a little bit further in that twist. If you had that foot crossed underneath you still, it would look pretty much the same. You do feel it a little bit differently. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready to come back to center. Taking those legs back down to the mat, sitting up nice and tall again on those sit bones. Bringing the other leg up now, placing that foot into the thigh area there, sitting up nice and tall for our forward fold. We're going to inhale and hinge at the hips. Again, finding a spot where it may not bother the knee. Drawing through the crown of the head, making your spine really long. Breathing out. Relaxing your body. And gently coming out of that stretch. Taking that foot, crossing it over, drawing the other one underneath, stacking those knees, sitting up nice and tall if you'd like, and then hinging over. This side I can do way much better than the other side. So that just means I need to work on the other side a little bit more. Then inhaling on the way back up. Again, if you'd like to, you can take that underneath leg, straighten it out. Sit up nice and tall. Use this hand on top of the knee. Place the other one behind you. As you inhale, we're coming up nice and tall. As you exhale, we're twisting and turning. You want to maintain both of your sit bones on the mat so you can feel that full stretch if you can. If you have that leg underneath you, it's going to look the same. Breathing in, we make a really long spine. We exhale, we twist a little bit more. And rolling back to center. Uncrossing those legs, putting them straight out. Now taking both your feet, the soles of your feet together, pulling them up into butterfly, pulling them close to your body, sitting up nice and tall, either clasping your toes, ankles, your shins, wherever you feel comfortable. Hinging at the hips forward, breathing out, taking a nice deep breath in, trying to think of relaxing our inner thighs so they fall out a little bit more. Finding that wonderful stretch in the hips. Keeping that head and shoulders down. Every day can be different. Some days we can go a little further, some a little less. Just work with what our bodies give us today. And then inhaling back up. We're going to take our legs out to the corners of the mat for a seated straddle. Your legs can be bent with your feet flexed if this is too much of a stretch for the hamstring. Or we can have our legs nice and flat on the mat. Also, sitting up nice and tall, drawing through the crown of the head, keeping that neutral spine in the back, not rolling the back like this, but keeping that neutral spine, and then hinging forward, taking a nice deep breath in, making that spine as long as possible, and then exhaling and sinking forward, down, finding that stretch again for the hamstrings, the inner thighs, the hips, the lower back. Maintain that neck so that it's not, you don't feel any strain in it. You know, don't have it up like this or down like that. Just find a neutral place for it. Sometimes I have to play with that, the angle of it, and see how it feels for me. Each time you breathe out, stretch a little bit more. You know I was going to say that, right? And then when you find that spot that you don't think you can go anymore, just stay there. And then see if it relaxes. If it does, go a little bit more. And come up nice and easy. Onto those fingertips, bringing those feet back around to the mat. Placing your feet out just a little bit further. We're going to play with boat, do a little bit of abs, not a lot. A couple of different boat positions today, a new one for us. So come on up onto your tailbone, so you're in between, on the cushy part of your bum. You can have your feet down if you'd like. Keep that spine neutral. Try not to roll the back like this. Open up the heart center. Keep the chest lifted. Lift up those legs if you'd like. Lift up those hands if you'd like. Or you can lift the legs. Any one of those positions, you can hold it like this. Find a position for boat where you feel comfortable. It's kind of hard to stay here in boat for a while though, so adjust as you need to. You do all different kinds of things in boat. So now in boat, we're going to reach through. You want to roll up onto your sit bones for a second. Grab your toes. Lean back a little bit. You press your elbows into the knees in this boat position. I can't remember what this is called. I'll have to look it up. Or if you'd like, open up the legs nice and wide. You're grasping your toes, so you're creating that tension with your peace fingers around your big toe. Holding those big toes out. Finding that balance. Finding your breath. And bringing them back in. Placing them down. Did you like that one? That was kind of fun. Then rolling back onto your back, bringing those knees up to the chest. Again, reaching through, grasping that big toe, those big toes for a happy baby. Elbows are pressed into your knees, rocking back and forth. Giving yourself a little mini back rub. Then placing those hands and feet down on our mats. Moving into bridge position. We're going to press up through all four corners of our feet. Wow, my hips are tight. Creating some tension in between the thighs. Tightening up the glutes. This is a good one for somebody who says, I was sitting and getting up a lot yesterday. I've never felt that tightness like that before. I'm going to attribute it to the new job. Could be the workout yesterday too though. Core center's drawn in. If you'd like, you can take those hands underneath you, clasp them. Roll up a little higher on those shoulders, roll the shoulder blades under you a little bit more. Then sinking back down from bridge. Bringing those knees up, resetting the spine. And we're going to come into plow. I just want to make sure what's behind me. I'm going to scoot down more towards the edge of my mat. So in plow, there's different ways you can get up into plow. One is from a bridge, and I don't have the flexibility to do that yet. I haven't been practicing it. Some people can come up onto their hands like this, and shoulders, and then, ooh, I did it, and then come back and roll back into plow. If you have any kind of neck or lower back issues, try this. This is a good position. It helps with digestion and thyroid. And then lifting up. Making sure that your head stays in line with the spine. Don't look side. Look to either side when you're in this position. Core center's drawn in. then taking one leg, I'm going to take my left leg down for spinal twist, taking my right foot beside my left knee, drawing that right knee over to the side, reaching my right arm out, gazing over that right palm for spinal twist. Feeling that stretch through the hip, the rib cage, the shoulders, the arms. Staying here as long as you like. Cool. I had to itch my nose. Let's fall over. Rolling back to center. Bringing those knees up to the chest. Oh, yeah, that was good. And taking that right leg, placing it down on the mat. Left foot by the right knee. Drawing that left knee over. Reaching out with the left arm. Keeping the shoulders on the mat. Finding that wonderful stretch. It's one of my favorites. This is going to help me out a lot today. I was feeling a little tight. And bringing those knees back to center. And then letting those legs down one at a time. In a final rest. Placing those hands beside your hips, palms facing up. Let your body just sink into the mat. Knees are falling out to the side. Toes are falling out to the side. Finding that breath. Remember those nice deep breaths that we started with? Start inhaling in. Filling up the lungs. Focusing on the breath. Letting it out. I'll be quiet for a little while you guys focus on your breath and final rest. You can stay in final rest as long as you want. I'm going to wiggle my fingers and wiggle the toes. Brush the pads of our fingertips over each other. Bring up one knee, then the other. Oh, for a final hug. And then rolling over to the side. Into baby position. And then when you're ready, just press on up onto your bottoms. Crossing the legs, letting the hands just rest on the top of your thighs. Together, if you're ready, you can stay in final rest if you like. Bringing those hands back down to the heart center. Feeling thankful that I got to do some stretching yoga with you guys today. Hopefully you liked it. And I might that can't watch on Facebook, so I think it went okay. You guys let me know if you thought it went right. So have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow for HIIT and strength training tomorrow at 5:30 in the morning online. Namaste. Love you guys. And we'll see you soon.